A few days ago, I uploaded a video just reminding people that this case is about Abby and Libby and their families and Richard Allen and his family and the town of Delphi. I pointed out that attention to this case online has kind of gotten sidetracked away from that and was just reminding people to maybe focus more on the victims and their families and Richard Allen and his family instead of other people online who you disagree with. During today's live chat, I have no plans to discuss what I said and would appreciate if people in the live chat box do not reference these other trolls or drama between other people. As always, please just be polite and let's focus on the facts of the case as we know them and remind ourselves that we do not know all the facts. Hopefully, starting October 14th, we will finally get to know the full facts of the case against Richard Allen. A few months ago, I was made aware that the Abby and Libby Memorial Park was selling pavers for $100 each. So I asked my subscribers for some ideas about what type of phrases to add. So I was notified that on June 19th, they finally installed these pavers, and the park administrator sent two photos of what I purchased. One says, "Forever friends, forever in the hearts of the world," and the other said, "Work hard, play hard, cherish each moment." The Memorial Park has baseball and softball fields that a lot of children play at. In the description under my Delphi videos, I always include a link to donate to the Memorial Park, as well as the two scholarships in honor of Abby and Libby. On July 11th, the defense filed Precipice for determination whether a ruling has been delayed beyond the time limitations set forth under Trial Rule 53.1. It was 5 pages long. On July 19th, the Indiana Supreme Court issued a ruling on this, so I'm not going to go into detail on this, so if you want to see the details, just pause this. The summary is, the defense wanted Judge Gull to be removed from the entire case because there's a time limitation she has to rule on motions. The defense said she exceeded that, so Judge Gull was not following rules and they wanted her off the case. The Indiana Supreme Court responded, the Chief Administrative Officer of the Indiana Supreme Court finds that withdrawal of Rick's case from Judge Gull is not warranted. On March 13th, the defense filed the third Franks notice, and on April 29th, they filed the fourth Franks notice. On May 7th, Judge Gull issued an order stating, quote, defendant's third and fourth request for Franks hearing will be ruled upon and not set for hearing unless necessary, end quote. On July 11th, the defense filed their precipice seeking to have the case withdrawn from Gull for failing to rule on two Franks notices. However, the defense is mistaken, and the case should not be removed from Gull. Trial Rule 53.1a states, if a judge fails to rule on a motion or set the motion for a hearing within 30 days, the case may be withdrawn from the judge. However, Rick's defense waived any relief because they filed motions beyond the time they could have legitimately raised a claim for removal of Gull. The benefit of Trial Rules 53.1 or 53.2 may be waived when the deadline for a ruling passed, but rather than filing a precipice to withdraw the case, a party, the defense, files pleadings or takes voluntary action of record inconsistent with that party's right to invoke those rules. So on March 13th, the defense filed Franks 3, which warranted Gull to issue a ruling by Friday, April 12th. Gull failed to rule by April 12th, but instead of filing a precipice for her withdrawal on Monday, April 15th, the defense filed an additional motion on April 29th, the Franks number 4. If they file a Franks number 5, they can have a basketball team. Because the defense filed a motion seeking to advance the matter before Gull, they waived any relief under Trial Rule 53.1a concerning Franks number 3. Tom wrote, because the defense attorneys are so focused on filing Franks motions to get the searches of Rick's home, car, cell phones, and computers thrown out, they failed to follow the procedure for their best chance to finally achieve their goal of replacing Gull. The ruling continued, in terms of Franks 4 filed April 29th, the defense also waived any relief. Gull should have ruled by May 29th, but failed. Instead of filing a precipice to remove Gull on May 30th, on June 18th, the defense filed accused response to this court's May 31st, 2024, order or judgment of the court and notice of conflict. Because the defense filed a motion seeking to advance the matter before Gull, the defense waived any relief for Franks number 4. The precipice is denied and Rick's case is not withdrawn from Gull. After I read this, I thought this looks absolutely horrible for the defense. So 3 defense attorneys, Baldwin, Rosie, and Auger, who have repeatedly said they have over 70 years of experience and their gang of attorneys advising them for free, failed to finally get Gull removed because they did not know the proper procedure to follow. Is that competent or incompetent? Since they failed, I would say it's incompetent. Good luck, Rick. Also, for a second time, the Indiana Supreme Court said Judge Gull was wrong, but the defense's mistake outweighed that. On July 18th, Mitch Westerman's trial was canceled because he accepted a plea deal, so there will not be a trial. I think he has to pay $454. He admitted probable cause existed to file the charges, and as long as he doesn't get arrested in the next 3 months, the charge will be erased from his record. Mitch was the former employee of defense attorney Andrew Baldwin. He went to his office to meet with Baldwin, and while he was waiting in the conference room, he took photos of Abby and Libby dead in the woods and then shared them. On July 22nd, the defense filed a motion for leave to present mini opening statement to the jury panel prior to voir dire, which is jury selection. They said a more meaningful exchange of information will take place during voir dire if the parties are allowed 3 minutes or less to preview the main issues to be contested at trial. Some of you know the defense team started a fundraiser online to pay for experts because they said Judge Gull was not reimbursing the defense. So in order to properly defend Richard Allen, they asked the public to pay for these experts, and they raised a little over $40,000. Soon after, it was revealed in court filings that Judge Gull did not authorize the reimbursement because the defense team failed to properly include documentation supporting the expenses. Once they did that, she reimbursed them. One of my subscribers recently told me that they contacted David Hennessy, who's a defense attorney who has worked closely with the defense team, to get clarification on the status of the fundraiser. Hennessy replied, "I am not on the case as defense counsel, so I have to rely on Mr. Bladwin and Mr. Rosie. I know they paid some experts and investigators out of their own pockets, which will be reimbursed. The delay was unexpected and beyond my control. I have also been told that Judge Gull expects," he wrote "end," but it should be "any." So Judge Gull expects any leftover funds to be used to reimburse the county. I can only assure that they will only be used for the stated purpose. She refused funds for 2 investigators. Other than that, I will just have to see what is left. I am also trying to figure out how to reimburse donors if they want, but there were over 250, so I don't know how that would be possible. In addition to online, I believe some people also sent checks to his office, so if he gave money, it might be going to Carroll County. Last week, the Murder Sheet released 3 episodes that were mostly based upon a group chat on Twitter/X between attorneys Bob Motta, Michael Osbrook, and Kara Weinecke, and 3 internet sleuths, as well as some communications with defense team investigator Matt Hoffman, which revealed certain communications that they were doing to publicly promote the idea of Richard Allen's innocence and a conspiracy against him. I'm not going to waste any time on this. From what I heard, Baldwin and Rosie really didn't do anything immoral or illegal or unethical. Quite a few things that were said in these chats are just flatly disgusting. But I want my live chats to be about the case facts and not these people who are ridiculous. So if you did not listen to the episodes and you want a summary, you're going to have to pause the following slides. In the chat box, please do not bash these people or the murder sheet. Just stick to politely discussing the case. Finally, on June 21st, Gull issued an order rescheduling the May 21st to 23rd hearings to July 30th, July 31st, and August 1st, starting at 10 a.m. in the Carroll County Circuit Court. Unfortunately, due to some other commitments, I cannot go in person, and also I will not be able to do any live chats on those days to recap what happened. I'm taking a break from Delphi around mid-July to mid-August. This is a list of the 7 items that will be discussed on these 3 days of hearings. These are my very quick summary. So number 1 and 2 were the defense's motions to suppress. Baldwin and Rosie want to suppress everything Rick said and wrote in prison. They also want to suppress all statements from Rick's October 26, 2022 interrogation by Jerry Holman because Holman failed to read Rick his Miranda rights. McClelland responded, Rick voluntarily said incriminating things to almost 30 people in Westville, and his Miranda rights were not violated. Number 3, State's motion for admissibility. At the trial, McClelland wants to present Rick's incriminating statements he made to a psychologist at Westville Prison. Number 4, defendant's motion to compel and motion for sanctions. The defense said, McClelland has been late and disorganized with evidence which has hindered the defense. So the defense requested a variety of sanctions, including the court prohibit McClelland from introducing designated matters into evidence. The defense needs a variety of different police reports. They want Gull to instruct the jury. McClelland received Todd Click's exculpatory letter, but failed to turn it over for 4 months. Permit the defense to play any video that was belatedly produced without objection from McClelland. I don't know what video they could be talking about. Prevent the prosecution from rebutting the evidence Click provided. And finally, something that does not really make sense to me, all data from Libby's phone, including video from all data extractions, be excluded from evidence. So if Rick is innocent and not the suspect in Libby's 43-second video, why does the defense want to prevent that video from being shown to the jury? On April 26th, McClelland replied, he said he gave everything to the defense and did not make a determination of what was discovery and what was not. The defense has been lazy and should have made greater effort to locate documents before filing their motion to compel. A lot of the documents they want won't be used at trial and is not exculpatory for Rick. He said the defense had all the requested information except for the chain of command and standard operating procedures. Number 5, defendant's motion to vacate safekeeping order. They want to transfer Rick from a prison to a county jail. Number 6, state's motion in limine and the defense response. McClelland requested Judge Gull require Baldwin and Rosie refrain from mentioning the following at the trial. Anything about Nick McClelland, witnesses, third-party perpetrators, Odinism, cult or ritualistic killing, Odinists, Kegan Kline and his dad, Ron Logan, Todd Click, geofencing that is not relevant, prior bad acts of witnesses, which I'm not sure who's been up to what, how the files handed over to the defense were labeled, and PowerPoint presentations that were executive briefs to law enforcement. The defense responded, they plan to call more than 20 witnesses who will provide credible information regarding the culpability of third-party perpetrators. The state's request is overly broad and should be denied. So at these hearings next month, it should be interesting to hear what the defense is going to present. If Gull says, no, you cannot present these third-party perpetrators, what will be the next step by the defense? They said they needed 15 days to present, but if they can't present third-party perpetrators, how much time do they need? Finally, number 7, defendant's second motion to dismiss and state's response. The defense learned of other exculpatory or useful evidence the prosecution has not turned over, is missing, or the state destroyed that relates to third-party suspect BH. McClelland failed to turn over Libby's phone data for nearly 9 months. That's not acceptable. And there was no recording of Dan Doolin's interview, the conservation officer, with Rick soon after the murders. McClelland responded, there is no exculpatory evidence the state has not turned over. BH is not a third-party suspect, and there is no evidence tying him to the murders. That's it for the latest summaries, and now I'll get to the chat. Today, July 23rd, the defense filed defendant's reply to state's response to defense's fourth motion for Frank's hearing and a request for hearing. The defense forgot the letter P in response, so they got off to a great start. Before I read this, I wanted to go back and see how McClelland replied to their first Frank's number 4, or their fourth Frank's number 1. Anyway, let's keep it moving. So, what is new in this response that could have taken 9 weeks for the defense to prepare? The answer is nothing. So McClelland replied to the fourth Frank's memo on May 17th, stating, the defense listed information that is irrelevant or inaccurate about pings generated by the phone company AT&T on February 14th and 13th. The defense does not understand the info. The pings all show historical data because the tower could not find the phone. This is all about Libby's cell phone, which was found underneath Abby's body. That doesn't mean the phone wasn't in the area or wasn't in working condition. It means the tower could not contact the phone. I added, more importantly than pings from a cell tower, what does a data extraction from Libby's phone show it was doing? Was it moved or used? Fun fact, the defense wants everything from Libby's phone to not be allowed to be presented at the trial. If they're saying the data on it shows that Rick is innocent, why don't they want it to be presented? McClelland continued, the defense mischaracterized Sergeant Blocker's statements. He reported the last contact Libby's phone had with the cellular tower was at 5:44 p.m. on February 13th. The defense wants this to mean the phone was not in the area from the evening of February 13th until the morning of February 14th. That is not what it means. The pings only showed historical data location because the phone was not having contact with the tower and were not live pings. Every indication is that Abby and Libby were ordered down the hill and murdered soon after. The omitted information from the AT&T pings does not negate the fact Rick places himself on the bridge at the same time Libby took the video of the bridge guy. Rick admits he was wearing clothing matching the clothing bridge guy was wearing. That and eyewitness testimony and other evidence gathered establishes probable cause Rick is bridge guy and the one who kidnapped the girls. So that's the end of McClelland's summary from May 17th. So this PowerPoint slide summarizes today's filing from the defense. They said on April 29th, they filed Frank's number 4 and referenced Sergeant Blocker's report suggesting Libby's phone was taken from the crime scene on the 13th and brought back on the 14th. Judge Diener had a right to know this before issuing the search warrant of Rick's home because it completely throws off the state's timeline of events, thereby exonerating Richard Allen. I gave a side eye when I read that. The prosecution didn't turn this over until 14 months after it was due to the defense. I've said repeatedly that's not acceptable, how long it has taken the prosecution and law enforcement to turn over some of this evidence. McClelland's response makes assertions that aren't accurate or true. However, the defense never proved that in this filing. McClelland is not a digital forensic expert, and his assertions should not be accepted as true or accurate until he presents evidence or testimony that supports his assertions. Similarly, the same thing applies to the defense attorneys. Law enforcement failed to inform Judge Diener concerning evidence related to the timeline that would have indicated to Diener that Rick did not commit these murders. The defense wants a Frank's hearing. So I added, who is the defense going to call as an expert to prove Libby's phone left the woods and was brought back at 4:33 a.m.? The defense is not sure their ping allegations are correct. If Libby's phone did leave the area and was brought back around 4:33 a.m., where is the defense's evidence to prove Rick was not in the woods at 4:33 a.m., so he is exonerated? The defense is acting like this 4:33 a.m. ping exonerates Rick. However, they want all this information from her phone to not be allowed at the trial. Like, that does not make sense at all, other than shenanigans by Baldwin, Rosie, and Auger. So how does this unproven allegation negate the things pointing to Rick's involvement? Back in September 2023, when the defense filed their Frank's number 1, a simpler time, I created the spreadsheet to track exactly which lies the defense was saying Liggett put in the PCA, and without those lies, what else was sufficient to get the search warrant for Rick's house? So the warrant was seeking evidence in the form of handguns, ammunition, knives, a blue or black sweatshirt or jackets, clothing, electronic devices, and cell phones. These were all items that were related to the crime and that Rick said he owned during his October 13th, 2022 interview before the search warrant affidavit was filed. In 2017, Rick agreed he was on the trail between 1:30 to 3:30 when he talked to the conservation officer. On October 13th, 2022, he said he was there noon to 1:30, but law enforcement may not have believed him due to so many coincidences, including a car matching Rick's headed to CPS at 1:27 p.m. when he said he should have been leaving in the opposite direction around that time. The juvenile witnesses around 1:30 said a man was wearing similar clothes, height, age, and hair color as Rick. The girl said that man resembled the man in Libby's video. In 2017, Rick did not tell the conservation officer he was on platform 1. Quote, he walked from Freedom Bridge to High Bridge. He did not see anybody, although he stated he was watching a stock ticker on his phone as he walked, end quote. Then, on October 13th, 2022, when Rick said to Tony Liggett that he was on platform 1, watching fish, Tony Liggett knew that she said she saw a man matching Bridge Guy from Libby's video on platform 1 about 2 minutes before Abby and Libby reached the bridge. That's very incriminating. Wounds to Abby and Libby were caused by a sharp object. Rick admitted owning knives. A .40 caliber unspent round was found near the girls' bodies, and Rick admitted owning a Sig Sauer P226 gun. Underwear and sock were missing from the crime scene and may have been kept by the killer at their home. 3 of 4 juveniles around 1:30 described a man matching Bridge Guy and Rick near bench 1. Their descriptions were different, but close enough to suspect it could have been Rick after he parked at CPS and started on the trail. Rick also said he passed 3 girls in the same area, but he said around noon. Juvenile number 1 said they passed an older man who was kind of creepy. Juvenile number 2 said that man matched Bridge Guy from Libby's video. After Rick's 2017 interview, the conservation officer wrote potential follow-up. Who were the 3 girls walking in the area of Freedom Bridge that Rick said he passed? Is one of the reasons that law enforcement think Rick is guilty because there was not another group of 3 girls that law enforcement is able to identify as being on the trails before 2:30 p.m. So it is highly likely that Rick passed the 4 juveniles around 1:30 and was lying about arriving at noon. Hi, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for joining. And here we go. Wait, are we ready? We're ready. Let's just go. We're getting right to the comments. I'm probably going to do like 2 hours. Hi, not DB. Cooper or a douchebag? Sorry. Thoughts on the Dropbox? Kegan's Dropbox? As of now, I do not think that Kegan and Rick Allen knew each other. I don't think that it was necessary for Kegan or anybody to inform Richard Allen, if he was bridge guy, that Abby and Libby were going to be there. He lived in Delphi for 11 years. And what I was thinking is I'm almost certain that these kids in Delphi had off also on, let's take that off. They had off on the Friday before Monday when this murder happened. Rick worked at the local CVS. So what happens if like maybe some kid came in around 10:15 a.m. and Rick said, why is there a child here and not in school? And one of the other CVS coworkers said, oh, the local kids are off today and Monday because it's been a mild winter and they're not going to be using snow days. So Rick, if this has been like some motive he's had for a long time, did somebody at work on Friday say that kids are off on Monday? So yeah, I just have not seen any connection between Rick and Kegan, and police have been looking into Kegan for years, and it seems like they never, whatever, saw any connection online to Rick. And the defense said in the first Frank's memo, anyway, that nothing, I guess, on Rick's social media connects him to other suspects. So that's what I'm thinking. Hi, Tom. What do you think is the biggest question in this case? So like a week ago, somebody on social media said something that people should be focusing on the big questions in the case. And I replied, well, what do you think is what are the biggest questions? And they did not reply. Anyway, I thought, well, what is my biggest question? And I think since Richard Allen is on trial, the biggest question is, where was Richard Allen at 2:13 p.m. as Libby was filming Bridge Guy coming towards her? Yeah, I'm just making sure I wasn't muted. So we're going to get to what you guys thought is the biggest question. Johannes, nice to see you. Is Richard Allen bridge guy? Yes, I think that's similar to what I was just saying. I've said often, I've never said that Rick is bridge guy. I don't think that his face like pops out to me, but that it's so blurry, you really can't even make out the person's eye color, shape, nose, mouth. So like, how can we really describe somebody just looking at that video? I do think the body type is a shorter person with small feet, and I do think it could match up to Rick. We have to wait until the trial to hear better or higher quality examples of his voice to see if it matches Bridge Guy. If it's not him and that's not his voice, why does the defense team want that entire video thrown out? You would think they'd be like, oh no, look at this guy. That's not our suspect, or sorry, our client. Your name changes every single live chat. Cope and Seethe Delulu Bishes. Tom, what made Rick Allen decide to carry out his fantasy? I have no clue. You guys who have watched me for a long time know that like the only motive I can really think of for Richard Allen is that he lived in Delphi for 11 years. The defense said he went to the trail often. Did he see teenage girls often? He wanted some kind of sexual situation, but he was like, oh, I can't touch them or my DNA will transfer. So he wanted to wait and maybe see 2 girls to do stuff to each other. That's the only thing I can really think of if Richard Allen is guilty and it was a sexual motive, because if it was him, like what other motive than just being like a homicidal maniac could there be? One of the girls was found, Libby was completely naked. So I think that indicates some kind of at least sexual intent, even if it did not get to that point. Hi, Simon. Thank you, everybody in Europe, for staying up late for my ridiculous live chats. Yeah, for people who didn't see, my next live chat is August 18th. I'm not going to be online for the next month. No, I'm not going to prison, although some of you want me to. Did Rick do it alone? Seems to come up a lot. Yes, it does come up a lot. And I think one person, including Richard Allen, was capable of committing this by himself. That's the short answer. Hi, Ben. Hi, Delphi Dummies. Why did he do it? Like I said, the like sexual motive to see two younger girls do stuff is what I can only think of. However, I don't understand how anybody in this small town could think they could have two girls do this without the result being killing them, because it's such a small town, and he worked in the CVS where any girls that he did this to could have come forward. And I know a lot of people would say, well, he walked past the group of four girls around 1:30, and it seems like none of them ever identified him in whatever 5.5 years. So we're gonna have to wait and find out what all these juveniles and other witnesses said at the trial to like get more context. High atonement over a 10-year period. How about, quote, how the hell did he know they were on their way to the bridge, on a mission, walking intent, etc., if the Anthony Schatz account has nothing to do with this now? All right, so I don't know if you were here, you probably were, because I'm already 10 minutes behind, although I'll probably be a decade behind like your screen name. I don't think he needed Anthony Schatz to tell him or anybody else. He could have heard on Friday before that kids were going to be off on Monday, and he would have thought, oh, well, I've been to the trails and there's not a lot of people there normally. Adults will be at work. So maybe he thought this was a great day. I'm not saying great day, but a good day to do it, compared to if he needs like a lot of stuff in his jacket to whatever people call like a kill kit or whatever. He couldn't do that in the summertime. He had to be like covered up in the winter. So maybe this was like finally his opportunity presented itself, unfortunately. Taco Bell time. It matches my polo. Oh yeah, thanks for taking my poll. Oh, my polo poll. We'll delete that later. Anyway, more things here. Hi, Brian. I think you're also staying up late. How many crime scene pictures would there be? Why did the defense leak those 4? I'm not sure about that. Yeah, the whole time the leak was going on, I was like focusing on my video for the Frank's memo #1, and so I didn't really pay attention to leak stuff. Hi, Vanessa. Yes, there are so many questions, and I think a lot of them we'll never get answers to publicly, but hopefully enough of them are answered at the trial for the jury to make the correct decision. Hi, Norwegian. Thank you for your whatever. Appreciate you sticking to the facts and not entertaining the trolls. You're welcome. That's all I care about. Like, I don't care about random jackasses. As a resident of Indiana and victim of violent crime, sorry to hear that. I know how slow the courts move. I pray there's a verdict this year. Yes. I mean, one of the good things, hopefully, that will come out of this recent Indiana Supreme Court decision saying that Judge Gull was lazy in like ruling on whatever the Franks 3 and 4. If you're supposed to make a ruling or schedule a hearing within 30 days and you're not doing that, these cases, as you say, they just like drag on. So Homegirl is going to be ruling within 30 days from now on, you know. Anyway. Hi, Nevada Tan. I can't see anyone else involved. He would have rolled, AKA, my face looks really shiny. Anyway, AKA, like if he was just bridge guy and somebody else killed them, why is he in prison being tortured just because he helped get 2 girls down the hill if he had nothing to do with the actual murder? That's something that I can't resolve. He's not going to take a murder charge with a death sentence if he can pin it on an accomplice. The death sentence has not come into play yet. I'm not sure when and if it will. Hi, Owl on the Prowl. Rick Allen is going to need an alibi. Well, he ain't got one as far as we've seen. The only thing the defense has presented in nearly 2 years to like say that Rick is not guilty or is not there depends on witness 4 saying the guy she saw from 50 feet away on platform 1 was 20 with poofy hair. And then at 2:14, as she left and drove while she was driving, she saw a car from the 1960s. The person who was driving the car at CPS never came forward. So does that mean the killer was a 20-year-old who drove a car from 1965? According to witness 4, yes. The only other thing that the defense has really presented has been they said there were 3 phones near the crime scene at the time of the murders, and none of them were Richard Allen's. So that whole like combination of those 3 things means that Richard Allen was not the murderer. If I'm on the jury, that's not really convincing to me. And we have to wait to see everything from the prosecution. So we'll see. Hi, Jinx. Hey, darling. She's from someplace where they say darling. Anyway, question number 1, who helped other bad actors? Yeah, so McClellan said on November 22nd, 2022, I think the reason they did not want to release the PCA was because I think they had good reason to believe there are other bad actors involved in this heinous crime, something to that effect. Well, it's been almost 2 years for them to find these other bad actors, and obviously some of them are bad detectives, so maybe they're not doing a good job. But at the time, I think they knew Richard Allen's DNA did not match the crime scene, but they felt like other things did connect him to the murders. So did they find out who that DNA belonged to? We'll see. Simon says he still has a chance of a not guilty verdict. Why roll before and guarantee a life sentence? That's a good point. But I mean, like, yeah, that's a good point. Hi, big fish, small pond. How? Oh yeah, I have a new rule. You have to proofread your commas before you click send. Please use commas and periods so I can interpret it better. How did police not look up the car, I guess from 127, and question people who own one? This is a great point, which I can't understand. If Tony Liggett is like one of the lead detectives, he sees this, they look at the video camera stuff from Hoosier Harvest Store. They know this group of 4 girls were leaving around 1:30 to 1:35. They said a guy matching bridge guy came from like that center circle from Freedom Bridge or CPS. It seems like police thought the killer parked at CPS. So wouldn't you like look at the whatever 300 is that road that goes whatever you guys all know. 127 there's a car headed towards CPS, which would make sense that it could have been the person who pulled into CPS and then walked around 1:30 to 1:35, and it was the person seen by these girls. This car, Richard Allen's car, from what we've seen, is like a black 2016 Ford Focus. And I think one unique feature is the tires are all black instead of the usual like silver. The Carroll County Sheriff's Office is 1 block from CVS where Rick worked. I previously shown a photo from a drone from like summer 2022 before Rick got arrested. His car was parked in the front. Like it was backed in, like Rick backed into CPS and the killer backed into CPS. How does like Tony Liggett and anybody who saw this 127 black car with black hubcaps and a like hatchback not drive by CVS and wonder like, oh, that looks like the 127 car. Let me look and see who this belongs to. Yeah, I would not vote for Tony Liggett for anything. Eye doctor of the year. Anyway, next. Cope and Seethe Rick does not have an alibi. They would have provided it. That's true. Nevada Tan, because he's already confessed and said incriminating stuff. So obviously the investigation has info on him to get him panicked. Next week's hearings are going to be very interesting. What are you guys interested to find out? Will we get a direct quote from Rick? That was one of these incriminating statements. Will it be something that only the killer would have known? Will Rick finally be transferred to a jail? And like, what are the restrictions going to be? I've said a bunch of times, I just don't think he can have a cellmate or be interacting with other, whatever, jail criminals. Like, he's 5'5" and accused of killing 2 children. It's like, it's not going to be great for him to be hanging around any kind of prisoner or inmate. Hi, tape recorder. Yeah, I think you guessed it correctly. Al on the Prowl, I do want to see Doolin's report on Peter Brady today. Anyway, if you got that reference, good for you. I'm going through puberty. Unfortunately, I'm not. Doolin's report, I think like we've seen it all. I want to hear exactly what Doolin says he remembers of that interaction. I want to know what love is. I want someone in the chat to show me. All right, sorry, I'm an idiot. But Rick supposedly called police. I'm not going to get to your reactions to that for 20 minutes. Rick called police, according to the defense. And I guess somebody who picked up the phone said, okay, there's going to be an officer at the grocery store. Go give your statement or whatever. I want to know if in that phone call, whoever took it, did they write down a note, like keeping track of who is calling? Does that say Richard Allen called and said he was on the trail at this time? Obviously, that would be great for the prosecution if that piece of paper before the grocery store interview with the conservation officer states the man who called with Richard Allen's name and phone number said he was there like 1:30 to 3:30. I just don't understand how, if Doolin is the conservation officer, if he was at the grocery store meeting people to like get statements and he was told, were you on the trail between 1:30 to 3:30? In the first Frank's memo, the defense said, well, Rick said, yes, I was, because I left at 1:30. So technically Rick was on the trail 1:30 to 3:30, but he left at 1:30. If you ask somebody, were you on the trail 1:30 to 3:30, and they say, yes, I left at 1:30, like, do you not say, okay, what time did you arrive? And then you write down noon to 1:30. You don't write down 13:30 to 15:30, which is 1:30 to 3:30. So there are so many things that there are 185 witnesses, but obviously they're not all going to end up testifying. So we have to wait and see and hear what they're all going to say, but I doubt like it's going to be televised. Like over a month ago, the defense filed something saying we're going to file to have every hearing broadcast. They never filed anything. So, hi, more candy. No, it's yellow-ish. Hi, Easton. Norwegian still wonders if there will be a plea deal at the 11th hour since he has confessed so many times and the defense is still scrambling. Well, how's it going to go next week when Rick's wife and mom are in the courtroom? And is there going to be some things that are revealed that are really embarrassing to Rick if he truly is the killer? If after that hearing, he goes back to whatever prison or jail, feeling so uncomfortable that certain things were revealed, will that cause him to maybe think, I don't want to go through that for a month with my wife and mom hearing all this other stuff and potentially more stuff? So I know a lot of people have said, oh, I think a plea deal is coming, but at what point? Why is he allegedly confessing to so many people, yet not properly or whatever, officially changing his not guilty plea to guilty? Thank you for clarifying. TV needs Dropbox. Hi, N. Hi, Mr. Furley. I think you mean KK, Kagan Klein. Is a 300-pound red herring. Nevada Tan's biggest concerns are the actual integrity of the case and who's actually going to investigate the handling of it all. Well, that's a huge concern to me. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't know, but what has been done by law enforcement to look into all of the mistakes they've made to make sure it does not happen again? This, if Rick truly is Bridge Guy, this should have been solved within the first few days, not an insane amount of time and money and heartache by many people. Cope and C, thank you so much for contributing to my next Taco Bell cup. I appreciate it. Did you like my cursing in the troll video? Sorry to all the grandmas and grandpas who were triggered by my F words, but oh well. Hi, Angela. Luster. My biggest question is who did it? Well, hopefully it will be revealed October 14th to November 15th, I think. I'm just hoping that it does not get delayed again for everybody involved, including Richard Allen, who's been stuck in a jail cell 23 hours a day for it'll be exactly almost 2 years since when the trial's supposed to start. Hi, Katrina. I'm sweating, Katrina. What are we at? 42 minutes. Uh-oh, I have to go another hour and like 15 minutes. All right. Calm down, Tom. Katrina wants to know, do you believe his wife knew before he was arrested? A lot of us can't understand if he truly was Bridge Guy. How does a wife who was married to him for 25 years since they were 19 years old not recognize your husband's like stature, jeans, jacket, head covering, and voice? It just seems so unbelievable. Even though the video was not clear, I think the voice would probably, or sorry, the audio part of Libby's video would be clear enough for a woman to recognize their husband. But as I've said previously, like day after day went by, and if he told her, I talked to police and the police never come to do a second interview, years went by. So by October 2022, when they came and knocking on their door, like Three's Company and Mr. Furley, she would have been like, hello? As all of us, I want to know like what those two, Rick and his wife, were talking about as police were looking through their house. Like, what do you say to your husband? Excuse me. What do you say to your husband when this is going on? What did she say? She was interviewed on October 13th. I really want to hear what she has to say. I want to know if she was truly out of town that day or that night, making Rick maybe feel like he could have had more time to do this. I rescue all the dogs. Thanks for taking time out of your schedule, rescuing all the dogs. Hi, Duchess. I do believe it was sexually motivated. You don't make young girls undress for nothing. Yeah, I mean, it seems like they were not actually, I don't want to get too graphic, but just because they were not like found molested, let's say, does not mean that was not the original intent. Angela has a great question, which I've said before. You must be taking notes from me. I'm totally kidding. Did he, she didn't proofread. Banned. Did he go to the trails often after the crime? That's a huge thing that I want to know. I've said like the McCain brothers are like, I don't want to say notorious, but they're like really involved with the trails. And like both of them were there that afternoon at some point after like 3 o'clock ish. So did they see Rick on the trails for the 11 years that he lived there? After the murders, how often did they see him? I also want to know if they do recall seeing him, do they remember like where he would park? Because parking at CPS is like the least, it does not make sense to me, especially like pulling in back up to it, back in that thing up. Katrina, thank you. Forget what my answer was already, but thank you. I really appreciate your generosity. Thank you. I think I offended her right after she donated. Did I? Or is that Angela? Hi, Sissy. Atonement, yeah, I'm sorry. Atonement says they were both naked since Abby was redressed in the wrong outfit, allegedly. Yes, this is a weird like thing, how this even happened, where Abby was supposedly found with all of her clothes, but also with Libby's sweatshirt and Libby's jeans over Abby's legs. My thing that I was thinking is, because a lot of us want to know, was Abby also naked and was she truly redressed? I think she was stabbed in the chest. So it was mentioned that Abby was wearing two bras. She had like a pinkish, or it was a fuchsia or something, I don't know, pink purple shirt, and she borrowed, I think, Kelsey's gray sweatshirt. So if she was stabbed in the chest while she was naked, there would not be rips in that all those layers of clothing. So police will know, I think, depending on where the wound is on Abby's chest, was she, do all these items of clothing have like a knife tear? That's what I thought. I don't know. Am I wrong? Mr. Furley says many of these crimes committed on these jogging trails have a sexual motive. I think, yeah. Rachel Morin, that was like a year ago. Thank God they finally found that guy who not only killed her and I think sexually assaulted her, but he assaulted a child. I think before her, but they finally found that guy, luckily. Hi, Azul. Hi, Boost Mobile. Nice to see you, Miss Martha. Hi, Anna. Nice to see you too. The biggest question is motive and what makes investigators insist photos were taken. Investigators have never publicly confirmed they thought photos were taken. Pretty sure, right? The rumor is that there were maybe tripod marks near the crime scene, which would indicate like somebody put a photo or whatever, sorry, a camera or cell phone on a tripod at some point to take video or photos. That's not been included by anything by the prosecution or I think even the defense yet. Hi, Deep Waters 333. One girl would not have stood there and watched her friend be killed. She would have screamed, kicked, ran. Well, what if one of them was tied to a tree with rope? I feel like in the Bridge Guy video, at the top under his neck, there's like a white thing in certain frames that could look like a white rope. So I'm curious to know, was there any signs of like a rope being used on either of these girls to maybe whatever keep them tied to a tree from a certain point? What if he was pointing a gun at them and then stabbed Abby while Libby was like tied to a tree? We've all known about this F tree where the defense said it was Libby's blood that was like painted on by the killer. But it seems like the prosecution is going to say it was like blood spatter where she was whatever stabbed in the neck and blood came out. So could she have been tied to the tree facing it at that point and whatever the killer came behind her and stabbed her? I don't know that we'll ever find out. I would hope that if Rick is the killer, at some point he will reveal, at least for investigators and the families, if they want to know exactly how this all played out. Or did he already tell this doctor, which is one of the things that they're going to talk about next week, Dr. Wala, W-A-L-A. The defense wants her, whatever Rick said to this doctor, to be thrown out at the trial. So if he's not guilty, what the heck did he say to her? Is that going to be revealed next week? Stay tuned. Yeah, I don't know how long it's going to take Judge Gull to rule on like the 6 or 7 items they're going to be talking about next week. Nevada Tan, normally there's a culmination of pressures in their personal life that flips the switch to make them act on their fantasies. But we know so little about Richard Allen, which is true. The only thing we really heard about that time frame is his brother-in-law, his wife's brother, got into, I think, a motorcycle accident and died, but I'm not sure exactly how many months before that was, before the murders. Hi, CJK. Something triggered him that day for sure. Somebody said that David Hennessy, one of the attorneys for Baldwin and Rosie, somewhere maybe said that Rick went to his mom's house before he went to the trail, which I've never seen that, and I'm not sure if that's true. If so, what time, and did he eat lunch there? I know some people who have watched this. I'm very interested to know, when did Rick eat lunch? If he was on the trails noon to 1:30, did he eat lunch before he went to the trails, or did he eat after? It does not seem like he has some kind of credit card receipt to show that he bought lunch to align with his noon to 1:30 timeline. Cope and Seethe, or did Rick do some dry runs before that day? Well, if he lived there for 11 years, I mean, he had plenty of time to like be, I don't want to say be inspired, but think, okay, maybe if I took them down the hill here, I don't know. I just don't understand how, if it was him and he planned to like take them across the creek, why would he even think that was a good thing to do when he's not very tall? Bridge guy is not wearing big ass boots. Like I say, Ron Logan was wearing up to his knees like 2 hours before the murders. Ron Logan was. Like, why would Bridge guy even want to walk across a cold creek in February? I don't know. We'll see. What other thing? I've said this a few times that after witness 4 saw Bridge guy on platform 1, she turns around, she sees Abby and Libby like halfway to the bridge, like 2 to 3 minutes. I think if you're gonna, like, as you say, is today finally the day that I'm able to act on this motive and I plan to take them down the hill, I need to go to the opposite end of the bridge to see, is it safe for me to kidnap 2 kids down this hill? Is there anybody else down there that would foil this plan? So I think after platform 1, Bridge Guy probably did go to the far end of the bridge to make sure it was even like a safe thing to do if the opportunity arose. And sure enough, here comes 2 girls at the opposite end of the bridge. I don't know if he waited there all the way until Abby and Libby got to one of the end platforms. And I guess he, whatever it happened, wherever it happened, excuse me, wherever their interaction happened, before this 213 video, it seems almost certain that Abby and Libby passed within a few feet of Bridge Guy, which is why I think Libby got scared as he was coming. And I think it probably, if I had to choose, he passed them from the very far end. They were around platform 6. He walks to about halfway and he's like wondering, am I going to do this? He says, yes, do it, and turns around. And that's when Libby got scared and started recording. Tape recorder, what would Super Nintendo Doug Carter say about how the trial's going? Are you smoking doobie? Outside of the grid, hello. He was drunk and got upset with the girls and had a massive unaliving situation. Why am I sighing? He apparently did have some kind of alcohol problem. We know that his wife called police in, I think it was July 2015. and they needed, or she needed, police saying he was drunk and he ended up going to the hospital for some reason. It's unknown if there's some kind of like domestic violence issue. There's no charges for that or any other kind of alcohol. But like, why is he drunk at 2 o'clock? I'm sure some people are like, I go to the bar at 10 a.m. Anyway, we'll see if we get any more clarification where he was before that. And if his mom is going to say, yeah, he was at my house until 11 a.m., then maybe I'm not saying you're wrong, but maybe we'll get some more clarification about if alcohol was involved. Al on the Prowl has the opinion that people like this bridge guy who commit these type of crimes attempt to do these things a lot. Well, do they have a conscience for a few decades until they get to the point where the urge just overcomes the rational idea, like this is not the right thing to do? A lot of people say, well, Richard Allen had no criminal history. Well, he allegedly killed 2 girls on one day, and Rex Heuermann, the Long Island serial killer, killed a hell of a lot more over a longer period of time, and he didn't get caught until he was in his 50s either. Or is he in his 60s? I don't know. I think he's late 50s. And he didn't have a record either. So just to think like in general, people commit these crimes before doesn't mean it's not possible. Anna makes a good point. Day off, kids present might be great for kid targets, but also more risk of a number of kids all over the trails, under the bridge, etc. That's a very good point. Which is why I think if Rick is bridge guy, he had to drive by the Mears parking lot first to see if there were cars parked there, to see how many people were on the trail. In 2017, he said he did see cars parked at the Mears lot. However, he said he never saw people in the night, he never saw adults in 90 minutes that he was on the trail. So where were those adults who drove those vehicles? So I think he had to park at CPS because the other parking lot on the opposite side of Hoosier Heartland Highway is the main parking lot. So he wanted to go to the one with the least likelihood of other people parking. Where am I going with this? And he had to walk the entire trail, as Anna suggests, I guess, to see how many people are on this trail. And I think when he walked the entire length, he never encountered anybody if he arrived at 1:30 and is bridge guy, which is why I think he had to also go from platform 1 to the very end to see if someone's down there. Hi, Sleuth Intuition. Hi, Katrina. Do you believe this is Rick's only crime? Well, it seems to be the only one that, I mean, obviously the only one he's been charged with, and police have had his DNA for 2 years almost. It apparently is not matched up to any other unsolved crime. So I would say at this point, no, I don't think he did this before. As always, I'm probably wrong. I don't know. We'll see. Hi, Louise Cuevas. The Daniel Norfleet arrest made me think the Dropbox could be involved. So Daniel Norfleet is a resident of Delphi. If you guys remember, I think like 6 months ago or so, it was like kind of like a little news thing within the Delphi online community. There was like a big police presence in Delphi one afternoon with like I don't know if there was a tank. It wasn't a tank, sorry. Yeah, there's a tank that rolled through Delphi. They stopped at the Dairy Queen. There's like a big police vehicle with like 10 people, and they raided this house in Delphi, but it was not for like 6 months until maybe a month ago. It was revealed the owner or the resident at that house, Daniel Norfleet, he had like CSAM, like inappropriate images of children on his files and computers. So Louise says his arrest made me think that Dropbox, I guess Kegan's Dropbox, could be involved in the murders. Well, police had access to Kegan's Dropbox, I guess, since August 2020. Norfleet was not arrested or at least raided until whatever, August 2023-ish. So 3 years it took them to make a connection. I don't know. That's just my random thought. Hi, Crime Jester. Just ignore the trolls. Anna says, if Rick is found guilty of the whole crime, I'd guess the unaliving occurred to protect his safety. He silenced them before they could reach help. As I said before, I just don't understand how he could think that he could go back to CVS and any girls that he had like do stuff to each other that they would never recognize him. We know that the 4 girls who passed Bridge Guy around 1:30, at least one of them, it was not in the PCA, but in like other discussions that have kind of leaked. She said Bridge Guy had a scarf up to his nose, a hat, and a hood. So obviously, whoever this was trying to prevent their identity being revealed. I don't understand how one of these girls said he had gray hair if essentially like his entire face was covered up. So I'm looking forward to hearing how this girl saw Bridge Guy had some gray hair. I'm also wondering, did at some point Bridge Guy or Rick's hood or hat come off, which revealed more of his identity? And he's like, okay, at this point, they know who I am. I have to kill them. Maybe we'll find out one day. Crime Jester says 2 men can keep a secret if one of them is dead. That's a valid point. Duchess said, I think this was maybe on a Murder Sheet episode. Rick's former coworker said he followed her into the bathroom. She was a lesbian, if I recall correctly, and he made lewd comments to her about she and her partner doing sexual things in front of him. Is that correct? Well, we should have asked if it was correct before we highlighted it. There were certain, I think, sexual innuendo that have been revealed in certain interviews that have been put out by people who I guess worked with Rick. Sorry, yeah, I should have read that entire thing before I highlighted it. Sorry. Good morning, Dr. Gunsmith. Thank you for staying up late in the UK. Simon, the girls were moved. It says they were moved and it was staged. That was in the Ron Logan search warrant. What distance do you presume law enforcement are inferring? Sorry. Well, it seems like Libby was stabbed or close to the F tree. I never saw the crime scene photos because I don't want to, but I think she was only maybe dragged. I don't know. It doesn't seem that far. I'm not sure about Abby either. So I don't think it was a long distance, and I do not think they were killed somewhere else, like overnight and brought back. It makes absolutely no sense to me. But if it makes sense to anybody, that's fine. Witness 4, Nevada Tan. Witness 4 is at least consistent in her inconsistencies. Well, it seems like the police did not really trust her eyewitness capabilities for a long time. And she's the reason why they did that whole young guy bridge sketch in Young Bright. Hello, time for a nap. We're at 1 hour and 1 hour and 4 minutes. We're doing 55 more minutes of me stumbling over my words. She was the reason why police even released that young guy bridge sketch, which if it turns out that she didn't have her glasses on, it's like, oh my gosh. Anyway, yeah, one of the things I want to know, what was her eyesight on the day of the murders? Did she have contacts or glasses when she was viewing Bridge Guy and the car and stuff like that? Because the 3 girls who passed Bridge Guy said he was older, not a 20-year-old. So we'll see. Crime Jester, what's with the filing today and the geofencing topic again? It's nothing. The defense is saying that Libby's phone, her cell phone under Abby's body, was pinging at a cell phone tower at 4:33 a.m., which means, I think this is what they're saying, that Libby and Abby were taken from the crime scene on the 13th and not killed at 3:30 p.m., which means that Richard Allen could not be the killer because he was not in the woods at 4:33 a.m. on the 14th, but they provide no proof that Rick was anywhere else at 4:33 a.m. on the 14th. Also, the prosecution said the defense has no idea what they're talking about with these pings. Also, to me, I said, I think the data on Libby's phone showing if her phone was moving is more important than a cell phone from far away trying to ping it. Also, final point, the defense wants Libby's phone data thrown out, but they're trying to prove that it proves Rick is innocent. That doesn't add up to me. Yeah, please don't talk about politics. Thank you. We all disagree enough as it is. Let's not bring the US presidential election into it. Hi, Sasha. Why haven't they changed the venue and the judge? Let the attorneys apply their defense and prosecution. What's the problem? Emoji. The defense has been trying to get rid of the judge for 99 years and repeatedly failing. The venue is in Carroll County. They are giving 600 juror questionnaires to residents of Allen County who are going to be transferred to a lovely hotel, motel, Holiday Inn in the area of Carroll County. Like Delphi has a courthouse that's the Carroll County Courthouse in Delphi. These jurors are going to be sequestered for 1 month. Oh, Lordy. I'm concerned there's going to be an issue with them getting bored and it ruining the trial. So what was your question? The venue is changed. It's not going to be people on the jury from this local town where the murder happened. The judge, the Supreme Court of Indiana said she has made mistakes, but not enough to be replaced. But I understand your last point. It's like, first of all, let the prosecution present all their facts and let's just get to the facts and stop all this drama. Thank you. Yeah, Sasha, hopefully it won't be delayed even further. Hi, Ashley. Oh, I said Ashley. Don't let them know I said that. The Ashley Schaefer. Delphi dummies, don't put that on your next video. I don't care. You can. I'm sweating even more than I was 12 seconds ago. Big fish, small pond. Can you appeal if you plea? I don't think so. Hi, Easton 462. No, you cannot appeal if you say you're guilty. Well, now Crime Jester says in some states, yes, some no. I think I saw where if Rick says he is guilty, then it's over. Publicly, obviously, not just to inmates and his wife and mom. I would want to hear, sorry, things pop into my mind. Next week. So yeah, July 30th, August 1st. Oh, I missed a day. And July 31st, there are 3 days of hearings. Will we hear exactly what Rick said when he picked up the phone and called his wife and allegedly said he killed Abby and Libby? Will we finally get a direct quote? I doubt it. I think McClellan wants to save it for the trial. Katja, Johanna. Well, it's not the biggest question. In my opinion, the motive is. But do you think Rick was on drugs when he was on the bridge? Yes, I believe he is bridge guy. Would you walk on that bridge without being on doobie or drugs? I would say I don't think he was on any kind of drugs. if he has some alcohol in his system to, as I think Atonement said, to like give him liquid courage to do this horrible thing. I'm not opposed to that, but I don't think he was like massively drunk. But who knows? Al on the Prowl, how does witness 4, those are her initials, but I try not to say these people's names, not notice that the person on the bridge was 5'4"? Well, I was just in Delphi in May, and I had somebody stand at platform 1, and I was like in the spot where witness 4 was, and I could not make out like their eyes, eye color, eye shape, nose shape, mouth shape, general age. I mean, or their general height. Some people thought maybe because witness 4 said he was like 20s, was that because he had a small stature and was not tall like whatever, 30 or 40-year-old man? We're going to have to wait and see what her final testimony is. It's obviously going to be some of the most interesting stuff. And how will the jury react to it? And how will the prosecution counteract it? Did I have one other thing to say about that? No. Sorry, just looking for new comments. How far behind am I? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, it's like 30 to 40 minutes. I'm sorry. Too many people. Oh, we haven't seen you in a while. Where have you been? I'm sorry. I haven't done a live chat in a while, Tom. That's the response. Purple flowers. Why spend time redressing one of the girls with the other's clothes? I have no idea. As I said, I'm interested to know if Abby's clothes had some kind of knife tear, which would prove, I think, to me, depending where the wound was on her body, was she wearing any kind of clothes when she got stabbed? That's obviously going to be revealed at the trial. Why? I just don't understand. Some people said maybe he had remorse about Abby. People did say that Rick did have some interaction at the local bars with Abby's mom, who was a bartender, I think, at certain bars. However, did he know that her daughter looked like Abby? I don't know. Did Abby and Anna go into CVS together ever? I'd be interested to find that out from Abby, or sorry, Anna. Not DB. Big Fish Small Pond uses an assistive typing device. I need an assistive speaking device. Sometimes he has trouble typing properly. All right, I'll excuse people who don't have glasses or great fingertips. Hi, Fire and Ice. Hi, Digital. Digital's big question is, did Rick save the phone he was using in 2017? And if so, has it been forensically analyzed? Great question. What I want to know is, we all want to know the same stuff. If he said he was on a stock ticker between noon to 1:30 on the trail, what does his phone show? One of my huge concerns is it was 5.5 years later, and that data was no longer retrievable. I don't think the prosecution has revealed anything in their filings to really say what was found on Rick's phones or anything on from his house October 13th. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I think they're waiting for the trial to reveal all their stuff publicly. Crime Jester, don't say that. I think the hearings won't happen. Well, what's going to happen over the next week to delay it? Having said that, I went there and they delayed or they canceled it the afternoon before they were supposed to start. Bastards. Hi, the crime sleepers. What makes Rick an innocent man? I have a spreadsheet on that. I do. Actually, I have a video. I have guilty or innocent. Let me see. Please stand by. All right. Should I share this? Sure. Let's wing it. How do I share my screen? What am I doing? This spreadsheet is called guilty or innocent. Let's get Tom off the screen. Let's get crime sleepers off the screen. Let me see here. So I have a video called, I think, The Case Against Richard Allen, where I review things that point towards his guilt or innocence. So I'm just going to review the innocence part. Let's see. On the left side, it said Rick owned a gun, and the girls mentioned a gun, and then the unspent round was found near their bodies. Things pointing towards innocence, it is a subjective analysis that may not be allowed in court. The cell under that is, I'm over here in case anyone's looking. On the left side, yeah, I don't really want to go through all this entire thing. Let me just look at some of the bigger things, sorry. People say Rick made suicidal comments at Westville, which could point towards his guilt, but it could be influenced by depression, solitary confinement, and frustration at being falsely known as a child murderer. The accusation that Odinist guards told Rick to call his wife and confess or his family would be killed was a false statement the defense admitted creating. Things that he's innocent, someone would not sue until after the trial to prove that they're innocent and were falsely arrested. He did not have to proclaim his innocence in the letter to Judge Diener, or it was Judge Gall, asking for a public defender. He said he was throwing himself at the mercy of the court, but he never said he was innocent. He did not have to say that in that letter. Rick has not done any interviews, but it does not mean he's guilty. His attorneys are talking for him through court filings. Something maybe showing that Rick is guilty. He wore a head covering in addition to a hood to prevent people on the trail from recognizing him, and any hair to transfer or fall out in case of a struggle. Against this, it was February and a high of 43 degrees. So Rick wanted to have protection for his head. However, I said, like, why was he there for 90 minutes if it was so cold that he had to wear a hat and a hood? Below this, it's possible Bridge Guy and others were hiding at the south end of the bridge or the lower 505 trail until Rick exited. So other people were responsible and not Rick. The defense is trying to hide everything found at Rick's house. However, that's normal for defense attorneys to do. It does not mean that he's guilty. Two more. There is no evidence that Rick was home and not at the trails between 1:30 to 4. We'll have to wait for the trial to hear more details. Finally, if law enforcement was incompetent and did not follow up on Rick's 2017 tip, what other tips did they not follow up on to maybe find another or the real Bridge Guy? So that's the only stuff that I can really think of that points towards Rick being innocent. I'm now 40 minutes behind. Aloha, Mr. Kevin. Let me sit up. We have 40 more minutes. Why am I sweating and sighing? Kevin wants to hear Rick's voice at the hearing. Well, if the defense doesn't seem to want you to hear it. If I'm the prosecutor, I'm playing the Bridge Guy video and audio of saying, guys, go down the hill. Yes, I'm burping. Sorry. Or trying to conceal them. So I'm going to play the Bridge Guy audio saying, guys, go down the hill. Then I'm going to play the video on April 3rd, 2023 of Rick in his cell picking up his tablet, calling his wife, and saying he killed Abby and Libby. Then I'm going to play the Bridge Guy audio again, if the two voices are similar enough to convince the jury that Richard Allen was Bridge Guy. It might turn out that his voice does not match. On October 26, 2022, Holman, in his interview with Rick, said, we have experts who say that's you in the video. and that's your voice. Was Holman bluffing, or will there be an expert saying Rick's voice does match Bridge Guy? Sleuth Intuition thinks it's possible. Investigators had eyes on Richard Allen from day 2. Well, the problem is between days 3 and 9027, their eyes were on somebody else. I want to know like how they screwed this up. It's not just like not following up on him. The only follow-up from that tip that was entered into the FBI Orion system, number 74, says who were the 3 girls that this man said he passed. Like, what did law enforcement do to identify these 3 girls? And if it did not add up, like, why was there no like follow-up with this guy? It makes no sense to me. Hi, Ben. If there is a trial, if Ben is still here 40 minutes after he posted this, if there is a trial, do you think Allen's defense should forget about blaming others and just highlight the missteps in the investigation in the hope that at least one juror distrusts the evidence? No. If I'm on a jury and the defense attorney just keeps saying law enforcement screwed up, they did shady stuff here, yes, that's going to look bad. But like the thing I keep coming back to, like people are saying, oh, well, there's suspicious stuff about the Odinist. I agree. Suspicious stuff about Kagan. I agree. Ron Logan. I agree. Like some things that the family have said may be suspicious. However, what the hell was Rick doing between noon to 1:30? That timeline does not add up. He needs to answer that. So to me, like that's even more important than all these other suspicious things about other people. There's more suspicious things about Richard Allen than anybody else. So the defense is going to have to counteract those inconsistencies, Ben. So also, like if Gull even allows them to say Odinists were involved, and I'm on the jury, like you're going to have to prove to me more so than the stuff pointing towards Rick that it points towards the Odinists, and in all of the defense filings, I have not seen stuff to prove that to me. So if I'm on a jury as of today, I would not vote Rick is guilty. Although we have not seen all the evidence, I do think a lot of stuff points towards him being guilty. So I'm just waiting for the final evidence because we're playing with a limited number of facts. But thank you for your question. Sorry, I'm just looking for some new topics. Let me skip. We have like a half hour left. I'm skipping comments, not on a sidewalk down the street. How far? Let me see. Yeah, I'm like I have to like skip a bunch. Sorry to everybody who I'm skipping over. I always say it's probably nothing good. Kidding. Hi, Mama Bear. Where's Papa Bear? Didn't they say Rick entered a facility for drinking problem right after the murders? Well, the problem with this statement is who is they? People on Reddit? Don't trust anybody who posts on Reddit. Anyway, Mama Bear. It was a rumor. It's never been confirmed. So that's that. I know McClelland tried to get a variety of different records for Rick, including like at CVS, which might show like if he did take off for a month, whatever, in 2017. I'm sure his wife was interviewed and they asked her something like that. So we'll have to wait for the trial to find out. Crime Jester, if I had to guess, it was super quick and neither of them had much time to react. Yeah. I mean, if you stab someone in the neck, like they're going to drop. Not to be rude, but I don't know. I mean, I tried to think for a long time, how could this have all played out? At one point, I wondered if he had them both on their knees, like right in front of each other, and like just stabbed one and right after the other, so they couldn't even get up and run away. But that doesn't really add up to Libby's blood on the tree. So I don't think that's how it played out. Hi, Angela Van Oven, new subscriber. I think his wife knew. Welcome. I'm sure you'll unsubscribe before you know it. Yeah, for anybody who's just subscribing, this is my last video until August 18th is my next Delphi live chat. I'm not giving any updates on the hearings next week. I'm doing other stuff. I'm not going to jail. Sasha thinks the whole chase was filmed and the end result was sold. I'm sorry, and the end result sold. Well, why is it not like shown up on the dark web where anybody would recognize Abby and Libby in almost 8 years? Obviously, like creepy ass dude who's buying it is going to be like, hey, look what I bought. But I don't know. We're going to have to wait and find out if there truly were some kind of like tripod indentations near the bodies or the crime scene to indicate somebody was filming at some point. Hi, Scott. I don't know what this is exactly about. If you're saying Rick had a lot of time, he was doing something. As Crime Jester just said, I don't think this really, I don't know, took a long time. 213 is when the down the hill happens. It takes about 5 minutes, I would say, to get down the hill, cross over the creek, and get to the crime scene. So around 220, they're there. 357, like almost an hour and 40 minutes later, is when 3:57 p.m. driver on 300 said she saw someone resembling Bridge Guy. Obviously, there's like the whole like inconsistencies there, but that woman said she saw Libby's video and the guy was resembling Bridge Guy. So that's like an hour and 40 minutes to do all this stuff, which I think one person, including Rick, could have done. So I think they could have been killed fairly soon after. And then like the staging, getting rid of some clothes and other stuff like that maybe took a while. I guess you're talking about the F tree. I believe it looks like splatter. I think it's actually spatter, not no L. I'm a grammar Nazi, sorry. I believe it looks like spatter, that spatter off of something else, not off of Libby's body, her wound. Cope and seethe. Jester, the strangest thing about this case is how simple it is. And that could very well end up being correct, Amanda. Hi, Mommy Wolverine. Not everyone eats lunch, Tom. Rick was on an intermittent fasting diet in 2017. Carol, uh-oh, Tom. Two people in a row. Tom. All right, Tom's wrong. Did police ever ask Rick what you ate for lunch? I really want to see what he said on October 13th and the 26th, because the defense wants to get his October 26th interview with Holman thrown out. But they acted like he said nothing incriminating. So why do they want that removed? Some people think it's because he said, I never let anybody borrow my gun and I never went onto Ron Logan's property. So if it is allowed at the trial that Rick's, like whatever this unspent round matched Rick's, it's going to look bad if he said, oh, I was never there before and I never let anybody else borrow my gun. I want to know why he had a round in his keepsake box in his bedroom. Good evening, Stony. The crime sleeper says it could be very possible that Abby and Libby were forced to undress after they went down the hill. Then they made a run for it across the creek, dropping clothes in the creek in the process, in my opinion, of course. In my opinion, I disagree because I think we see in the helicopter footage that where certain items got caught up, Libby's tie-dye shirt, what else was there? Oh, one of her sneakers and a middle object, they all got caught up in this very like small, like bushy area or whatever that's popping out of the water. And it's very close to the north edge of the creek. So I've said many times, I think those were items that Bridge Guy maybe touched and was concerned his fingerprints or DNA transferred to. So after he killed them, whatever, moved them, put some branches on them, I think he maybe heard or saw the 311 and 314 phone calls from Libby's dad, and he got concerned. He's like, I have to get the hell out of here. I have to put these clothes that I maybe touched into the creek. And that's why he let go of them, and they all got stuck, or at least 3 out of the 4 got stuck in the same small area. I don't know that if Libby was carrying, like, why would Libby even carry her clothes if she's like running for her life? I'm not saying that's a horrible like assumption on your part. Maybe you're thinking my assumption is horrible, but the one I said I think makes a little bit more sense because I have thought about your scenario. Crime Jester truly believes why some people have gone nuts because they can't believe it's so simple. What, that Richard, I don't know what your motive was. That Rick did this, whatever, after he had the motive for a long time. Owl on the prowl. Rick knew there would be people on the trails that day, knowing that the weather was a little bit warmer than normal. If he sees anyone cross the bridge, it's a choke point. Yeah, I mean, what I can't understand is like anybody who is Bridge Guy telling these 2 girls to go down the hill, like anybody at any point, like the far end of the bridge, the down the hill area is so far from the start. By the time he says go down the hill, if he looks like one last time, like even going down the hill, new people could have come to the start and seen them like walking down. And if Abby and Libby like turned towards the bridge, they could have yelled. So, I mean, it's just so dangerous to even try to execute this plan. Sasha, according to the prosecution, they think he walked through the woods and like then walked down the street for almost 10 minutes. This road is called 300 North, and it's not very well trafficked. So they think he went back to his car, not going back by the trail because he didn't want other people to see him all bloody, but he walked on this road. Hi, Brandon. Bridge Guy, I don't know if you think Rick is Bridge Guy. Bridge Guy did not want to walk across the creek. He had to cross it. Yeah, I guess if you've had this motive and desire for so long, like getting your feet wet is not going to stop it. I'm still like 40 minutes behind. I'm skipping over a bunch. Hi, Angie B. How are these young girls surrounded by criminals? CSAM creeps on one side and a murderer on the other. What are the chances of this? And especially in such a small town. Yes, it is very sad. So, I mean, it's been said, like Libby was talking to Anthony Schatz, which is Kegan Kline, who's obviously getting young girls all over the place to send him inappropriate photos and videos. The same day she talks to him, she gets murdered by somebody else. I don't know, like what's going on with our world that this is like acceptable to some people. But luckily, Kagan is in prison for essentially the rest of his life for the next 40 something years. And if Rick is the person who killed these two girls behind me, hopefully he'll not be able to do it to anybody else ever again. Hi, lead with love. One of the Walmart quote unquote interviewees claimed Rick's wife worked in the jewelry department at Walmart. This person says is a total lie. Right? Thank you for clarifying. Hi, Aspen Connor. Sasha says there's corruption in this law enforcement. Hopefully, justice will prevail. I have said law enforcement can be incompetent and even corrupt. That does not mean Richard Allen was not on these trails and on the bridge at 213. I mean, obviously, if there's corruption, it needs to be addressed and people should lose their jobs and get arrested. But I've not seen evidence to show that Rick is totally innocent. Hi, Daisy. Hi, Mr. Wrong Uck, or Mr. Wrong UK. People in Europe need to go to sleep. I need to go to sleep. We have about 23 more minutes left. Sasha wants to know who's in charge of tips. That's what I want to know. And why is Tony Liggett not seeing the 74th tip? It was the 74th tip in FBI Orion system that says this man, Richard Allen, was on the trail 1:30 to 3:30. We know the video is 2:13. Yeah, I'm speechless. Thank you, Purple, for staying up late. What was that facial expression, Tom? Hi to everybody who's sharing your bed with me right now, or your laptop, or your. I don't even want to. Oh, I have that thing. Let me look. Hold on. Please stand by. I've been meaning to show this for a long time. Play Jeopardy music here. This is so awkward. As I've said previously, it's like, what's more awkward? Oh, found it. What? What's more awkward, when I talk or when I don't talk? Somebody, oh my gosh, wait, let me show this. Stop screen. Oh. Here we go. Somebody sent this to me. Hi, Brian. You never replied to my reply to you. This guy, Brian, said I put him to sleep during my live chat. And when he woke up, his cat over here, that's cat here. This is Brian's cat, was watching this idiot right here. So I wanted to share that. I asked him what his cat's name was, and I'd give it a shout out, and he didn't reply. I guess he's over me. Hi, Charlie. What? Hi to everybody and your cats and your dogs. Nevada Tan says, it's more likely to be a case of mismanagement and lack of resources in a small police department instead of some grand, extensive conspiracy, to be honest. I don't know. I just don't understand how this all got screwed up. Hi, lead with love. No, I wanted to go back because I was so disappointed that the ones I was in Delphi for in May got canceled, but I'm doing some other stuff over the next month. So I'm not going to the hearings next week. I'm not doing any kind of live chats or updates about it until I'll do a public live chat. I think it's Sunday. I'm sorry, October. Sunday, August 18th is the next Tom appearance on social media. How much more time? We're down to 19 minutes, people. Sasha, are you getting carpal tunnel from all your comments? I'm still a half hour behind. The crime sleepers, there won't be any trial. Please don't say that. I mean, I don't care. I want the truth to be known. I don't care about the trial. I don't care if I never find out any of these answers. I care about whoever did this to these two kids is identified and held accountable. That's like all I care about. If Rick says, yes, I did it, that's good enough for me. A plea deal is coming. Circumstantial evidence alone is devastating. I'd convict him without the bullet. Yeah, I don't think the bullet is a huge piece of evidence. I think there's a lot of other stuff that could add up. I really want Taco Bell. Thank you, Delulu, for your generous contribution to the Tom Taco Fund. I have to say that even though I like Taco Bell, the best tacos are from Costco. They have a soft taco kit for like $17 or $18. You get 12 tacos. Throw out the cabbage or lettuce or whatever. Sorry, this is a little diversion. I'm just giving you some good tips, like Thomas A. from the Indianapolis area, who suggested Roscoe's, which I did not get a chance to go to, a taco place. So Costco, if you get like 3 different meals out of it, 4 tacos per meal. I put like a third of the seasoned chicken onto a plate. I put it in a microwave for 44 seconds. Then I take 4 soft tacos. I use a spoon. I put the meat on the 4 different tacos. Then I sprinkle it with the included cheese, put it in the microwave for 44 seconds to melt the cheese. They include a cup of salsa and a cup of crema. You put it on the top of each taco. My mouth is salivating. Seriously, it's like every single bite, I'm like, that's like one of the only foods other than ice cream with cookies that is like every bite is so good. So that's Tom's tip of the day. Yeah. Crime sleepers, I want to see this too. His Google search history over the past few years will be another nail in his coffin. Even if they were not able to get it from whatever, 5.5 years ago, they definitely got it from 2022. Was he going online frequently to look for information about the case? If not, I mean, that's probably good for his innocence. But if so, like you said, might be another nail in his coffin. What are we at? 16 minutes? Sorry. Let me go down further. Hi, FP. So, did Richard Allen have any girlfriends in high school, or was he always at the same school and his high school girlfriend was later his wife, Kathy? Only thing we know is they married each other. They were both 19. I mean, you guys can think, I mean, did he ever, I don't know, I don't want to get to like, whatever. Did he ever hook up with anybody else after 25 years married to his wife? Did he want some, whatever? Was that a contributing factor to some kind of sexual motive? Thank you for the question, Fire and Ice. Have you seen the movie Twisters yet? No, I really don't watch a lot of movies, especially in movie theaters. I don't know what the last movie I saw in a theater was. But thank you. Would you recommend it? Somebody said it was better than they thought. I think it's a tornado movie that's a sequel. Wasn't the first one called Twister, and now the new one's Twisters, plural or something? I don't know. Aspen Connor, remember, Tom is allegedly taking a month off after this live to focus on other things. How rude. Yeah, I'm going to be looking to find out what happens next week, but I'm not going to report on it until August 18th publicly, and then I'll do a member live chat Saturday, August 17th. Digital. I'm smiling at your exclamation points and questions. Is the only documentation of the conservation officer talking to Rick the info entered into the FBI Orion system? It seems like it. Did Doolin lose audio, video, and written notes of that interview? It has been stated that Doolin said, I thought I audio recorded everybody I interviewed. However, I cannot find an audio recording when I talked to Richard Allen. I even looked at my other recordings to see if I maybe mislabeled like the name on the recording, and he doesn't have it, which is obviously frustrating for everybody involved to prove whether Rick said I was there 1:30 to 3:30 or noon to 1:30. But will it turn out that Rick truly did not call in, and that he kind of like randomly went up to Doolin and just started saying I was there, and Doolin was not prepared like he was with these other scheduled interviews? We're gonna have to wait and find out for the trial to hear how this all truly played out. Hi, Gulls Gavel. No, I refuse. I refuse to come online for a month. There's no Wi-Fi at the county jail. Hi, Norwegian Muse by Norwegian Muse. Al on the Prowl. Are you going to do more on the Missy Beavers case? Nothing's happened in years, so unfortunately, no. If there's ever an arrest, I will give a YouTube update. But it's been 8 years unsolved. The crime sleepers, why would Alan have them go straight across the creek to the crime scene area, I guess you're saying? It makes no sense to take the girls basically back to the start of the bridge. Libby dropped her shoe and t-shirt while crossing. Libby ran, in my opinion. Well, at some point was he maybe thinking he could do this motive, if it was not just homicide, down in this area, down by the private drive, and not cross the creek? Did he look around once they got down there and he's like, people can still see us. We're gonna have to head over to the opposite side of the creek? Don't know. Hi, Shelley. I just saw the new Franks motion from the defense. They need to give it up, saying they were removed from the area and brought back with hundreds of people looking for them. Please, eye roll. That does not add up to me, Shelley. That they would come back at like 4 somebody would like drag them at 4 a.m. or even have them walk. The only reason I could think that somebody would take them away and bring them back is if they were trying to pin it on Ron Logan. But it does not make sense to me that it did play out that way. This is something I've never thought of. Nevada Tan, if Libby was forced to strip, Abby could have put on her discarded clothes in a panic to put on more layers as she knew it would be her turn next. Just an idea. Yeah, I've never thought of that. I'm not sure if it's true, but I'd never thought of that. Exactly 10 more minutes and We done. Crime Sleeper says if Rick redressed the girls, he touched all of the clothing. Why only pick certain items to leave in the creek? Interesting all the same. Well, I think if he planned this for years and he had like a whatever people say kill kit under his jacket, and you don't want your DNA to transfer to your victims, would you not have gloves on your in your kit? Yeah, but I don't know at what point he would have put the gloves on, what kind of gloves he would wear, and if he's pointing a gun at them to intimidate them, would a glove would a finger in a glove fit through the gun? Not sure what the answer is. Hi, illegally blonde. One thing we agree on: whoever did this is a monster. That's for sure. Duchess says, I think a lot of people want so badly to believe this crime was like a movie with twists and turns and conspiracy, but odds are that it wasn't, and that it's pretty fit and dry. I think I mean cut and dry in terms of the perp. I'm not going to be totally shocked if at the trial, when everything is revealed, that it's like kind of obvious that it was Rick. But I'm still waiting for all that evidence because we don't know if it exists or not. Oh, thank you for I forgive you. I won't beat you. How many we have like I'll do 5 more comments, then we're done. Here's a new comment. Tape recorder. What should Rick wear to trial to appear innocent? We've all seen him in his yellow jumpsuit, or I don't know if it's a jumpsuit. Will he finally wear a suit? Will he shave his beard? We'll see. I guess next Tuesday is the first hearing. We'll see what he looks like now. 4 more. Thank you, Al on the prowl. Hi, Melanie. Nice to see you. Yeah, hopefully Brian's cat did not hurt him. Brian changed to another YouTube channel and his cat was not happy. I won't say which channel. Sorry, illegally blonde. They don't ship the tacos. Murder Sheet Peep, you sound like my mom about the tacos or something? I don't know. 4 more comments. You know I'm like a freak that I don't want to go until 2 hours. If it's an hour and 59-minute live chat, it means it's only an hour-long chat. Hi, Carrie. Uncle Google will always snitch on you. Yeah. Rex Huerman, his search history was disgusting and definitely shows that he is guilty. Dr. Gunsmith, you're still up? Your last movie was Elvis. I saw that, but I think I was on a plane. It was decent, if you asked. All right, 3 more after this. Duchess, local law enforcement was on the right track. A local, someone who knew the trails well, and someone who blended in. That's why they were asking locals to recognize strange behavior from their neighbors and friends. Well, it could be said, if Rick was bridge guy in this small town, how about hello? Why did nobody call the police and say Richard Allen seems like bridge guy to me? He sounds like bridge guy. It's going to be interesting to find out in the 70,000 tips How many said the guy from CVS or Richard Allen? I don't know if somebody on the defense team is counting up like how many people out of 70,000 tips said Rick was the killer or he matched Bridge Guy. 3 more. Crime Jester, I'm not highlighting that one. Well, speaking about the same thing, Sasha said, I think a high school friend is the one who recognized Rick on YouTube. I think you got 2 things wrong in that sentence, but I think it was a friend from JC's bar who recognized him on Facebook or on I think on Facebook, like one of the Indiana TV stations said, like, I think on February 15th or 16th, police are looking for the identity of the man in this screenshot from Libby's video. And I think the bar friend of Rick said he already talked to police and was cleared or something like that. Will that guy, I don't want to say his name, will the friend from the bar testify at the trial about Rick saying anything about being on the trails that day on the 13th? If you were on trails and like whatever, like an hour later, 2 kids got murdered and you legit left an hour before, like, wouldn't you be telling all of your friends, coworkers, and family, yes, I was there. So I'm curious to know how many people did Rick truly tell that he was at the trails that day? How many people at work? Hi, Kay. Nice to see you. What are we down to? 3 more comments. Sasha, people aren't really feeling you. But feel free to share your opinion. Different opinions are welcome here. Just be polite, everybody, please. Two more minutes left. Hurry, Tom. Hi, Amy. You didn't miss much. Hi, Angel. Nice to see you. I don't think we're getting to 5 more things. Yeah, everybody, as always, thank you for joining and sharing your thoughts. Thank you. Uh-oh, I didn't see this. Cecil Hotel, thank you so much. Hello. And also Carrie, thank you. I really appreciate that. Now I have money to go get Taco Bell. 1 hour and 58 minutes. Uh-oh. Final comment. What are we going to do? I'm looking for one final comment. Let's see. I don't think we're going to have a final comment. As I just said, thank you everybody for joining and sharing your thoughts. Next week should be interesting. I will talk to you all about it. I will do like a summary of it. August 17th for members, August 18th for all you other people. Have a nice month. Hopefully I'll be alive in a month to talk about the latest updates in the case. Gotta go. Bye.